It was a beautiful Sunday morning, and the only grand hall ministry was filled to capacity. The air was thick with anticipation and desperation as congregants whispered among themselves, eyes darting towards the grand entrance. They had come to see Prophetess Dorcas, popularly known as Mama Know All. Rumors about her powers were legendary. Some claimed she could raise the dead. Others swore she could reveal secrets hidden in one's soul. A few even whispered that she spoke directly to God herself. Her followers revered her, and her fame was unmatched. One blessed morning, something fell off. Suddenly, a loud scream tore through the church, held sown sharply as Grace, one of Mama Know-all most trusted aides, rushed to the front. Her wide eyes sparkled with surprise. "She has done it again," Grace cried. "Mama has healed a crippled human." The congregation erupted into cheers and cries of adoration, many falling to their knees in gratitude. The woman who had been healed staggered forward, lifting her hand in praise. It was a miracle, or so it seemed. But not everyone was convinced. Naomi, a quiet and observant member of the church, sat frozen in her seat. She had seen that same woman walking confidently in the market just a day earlier. Her heart pounded as doubt crept in, but she dared not to speak up. Who would believe her? Mama Know-all was untouchable. Her diehard followers would crush anyone who dared to question her holiness. Prophetess Dorcas hadn't always been the larger-than-life figure she was now. She grew up in an humble family, raised to be modest, honest, and God-fearing. In her youth, she had been the pride of her church, leading Sunday school and helping whenever she could. Many believed she was destined for greatness, but no one could ever foresee the dark path she would take. Years later, after struggling to build her ministry with little success, Dorcas attended a conference graced by League of Pastors and spiritual leaders. There, she met influential preachers who seemed to possess a mysterious power. Among them was Pastor Elijah, a charismatic leader who took Dorcas aside for a private conversation. "You are trying to be holy," he said, his voice low and persuasive, "but you will never make an impact unless you are willing to make a sacrifice." Dorcas frowned. "What kind of sacrifice?" Pastor Elijah smiled knowingly. "There is a special ceremony, a covenant. It requires a significant offering, but it will grant you the influence and power you have been seeking for." Dorcas initially refused to challenge Pastor Elijah's claim, choosing instead to return home and focus on building her ministry. However, contrary to her expectation, her church began to decline. Membership decreased daily, tithes were not being paid on time, and hunger and hardship increasingly weighed on her. Despite her hesitation, Dorcas couldn't ignore the success and influence of other preachers, who commanded respect and admiration. Overwhelmed by desperation, she finally gave in and agreed. That night, Dorcas took part in the assembly ritual. Her heart raced as she was asked to make the ultimate sacrifice, her ability to bear children. As the ceremony reached its climax, she felt a chilling, otherworldly force engulf her, leaving her with an unshakable sense that something deep within her had changed. When Dorcas returned home, everything was different. Crowds began to flood in her ministry, her services overflowing with attendees. Word of her powerful sermons and supposed miracles spread rapidly, propelling her to fame. Her church expanded exponentially, becoming larger and more prosperous by the day. At midnight, Dorcas would shed her human form, her skin transforming into darkness. Silently, she would slip out of her expensive mansion and head to the river near behind her estate. There, she would vanish beneath the water, descending into the depths of the marine kingdom. In that underwater realm, Dorcas joined other pastors and prophets who had pledged their allegiance to the marine queen. The queen bestowed upon Dorcas the ability to see into the lives of her followers, which makes everyone believe in her miracles. Back to her church, Dorcas introduced unusual practices. She distributed small mirrors to each member, referring to them as the mirrors of life. These mirrors are blessed by the Almighty, she proclaimed. Each morning, gaze into them and speak words of life over your spirit. They will refill the areas of your soul that need healing. The congregation embraced the mirrors, believing them to be sacred tools for spiritual renewal. However, the truth was far darker. The mirrors were covert portrait linked to the marine kingdom, allowing Dorcas to observe her members, uncovering their deepest fears, vulnerabilities, and secrets. One Sunday, she summoned a young woman named Esther to the front. Last night, Dorcas began, her voice laced with what seems like defiant authority. You quarreled with your husband after discovering his secret affairs with his secretary. The argument escalated and he left the house without telling you his whereabouts. I can see the sorrow and confusion you are carrying. Esther gasps, her eyes wide with shock. How do you know? The congregation erupted in amazement, praising Mama Noah for the prophetic insight. Dorcas' revelation wasn't defined. She had used Esther's mirror to summon her spirit the night before, gathering the information she needed to stage the dramatic scene. No evil shall befall you, for you have submitted yourself to the Lord, she declared. The Lord is ready to fight for you in every area of your life. Your husband will return to you soon, and no harm will come near you. For you are a child of God, Prophetess Dorcas said. She also introduced holy water and miracle oil, selling them at exorbitant prices. These are blessed by God, she claimed. They can heal any sickness, fix broken marriage, and bring financial blessings. The congregants fully believed in her words and were eager to spend their last dime on the so-called holy water and miracle oil. A young widowed mother, desperate for her disobedient daughter to change, opened her purse and spent her very last savings to buy the holy water. Meanwhile, Naomi could no longer bear to watch as Prophetess Dorcas exploited her improvised followers with fabricated tales and false promises, all under the guise of God and holiness. During another church service, Dorcas scanned the congregation with peering eyes until her gaze settled on a young man seated in the middle row. His name was David, a quiet returnee from overseas who had come with his mother to seek Dorcas' blessings. Young man, Dorcas called out, motioning for him to come forward. David hesitated, but his mother gently nudged him. Go, my son, this could be your blessing, she whispered. Reluctantly, David rose and walked to the front as Dorcas lifted her hands dramatically. The congregation sat in silent anticipation. The Lord has revealed something troubling to me, Dorcas announced, her voice heavy with gravity. Your expiry date is near. David's broad frown. Expiring dates? What does that mean? Dorcas placed a hand on his shoulder, her face serious. It means, my son, if nothing is done, you won't live to see your next birthday. Marriage, children, business, everything you hope for will be lost. His mother gasped, clutching her chest in horror. But Dorcas continued, her voice softly, the Lord has provided a solution. There is a way to renew your life and secure your future. However, it will require a special sacrifice. David swallowed hard, a wave of dread washing over him. From her seat, Naomi watched the scene unfold, her heart pounding. She had seen enough. The tales, the manipulation, it was unbearable. Something had to be done to expose Dorcas for who she truly was. But how could she confront someone so powerful? To be continued. Would, would Naomi dare to uncover the truth? Could David break free from Dorcas' sinister clutches? The answers lay hidden in the shadows, where Dorcas' secret threatened to destroy them all.